What's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Morgis from The Weekender, and we're backstage at the Electric Factory in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with Chuck Ragan. He just released Covering Ground, right? Your 2011 release on Side One Dummy Records. Why don't you just tell me a little bit about the album?
Yeah, it's just a collection of road songs, really. Um, we I'm always constantly writing and stacking up songs, and when I started collecting this last group of songs and figuring out which ones we were actually going to take a stab at in the session, um, you know, we we pulled together a group. We always narrow it down. We start out by picking 20 songs and then narrowing that down to 15, and then narrowing it down to the record. And it wasn't until I actually started thinking about a title for the record that I kind of realized, that all the songs were road songs. So I didn't really go into it, more thinking about writing a concept record by any means. It was more just a realization, and just the fact that, I mean, for years, not just since the last record, but the majority of my life, it's kind of hit me that I've just always been on the move, either, growing up with my folks, moving around from city to city, or, getting in a band with some buddies, or, just continuing, whether I'm on a bus or planes, trains, automobiles. Like, I'm a nomad, and, it's just a fact of the matter. So, but when I started thinking about a title, I was thinking of all these names that, or, different titles, and some of them were somewhat vague. I knew what they meant. I knew other people would know what, some people would know what they meant. But when I realized that the majority of the songs I was looking at were all road songs, it made sense to call it what it is. We've been covering ground, and that's always been a term that we've just used around the campfire with our, around, where we work. People ask how you doing, and you just say, man, I'm running hard, been covering ground, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, were the songs written on the road as well? Do you always just kind of write?
Yeah, I mean, like if they weren't started, it goes both ways. Either they were started on the road or they were finished on the road, like one way or the other. Since we're touring all the time, I'm always writing.
Right.
So, I'm constantly just stacking stuff up and, trying to archive stuff and just put it away. Sometimes it gets used, sometimes it just disappears.
Never sees the light of day. Yeah. Now, a little other fun fact is Chuck is also the singer in Hot Water Music. Right. So when you're writing, So when you're writing, where do you kind of draw the line as to what goes to which act and all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely a difference writing for my stuff and then writing for Hot Water Music, because Hot Water Music, we've always written individually as well as as well as collectively. So, I mean, each of us will bring together material, and then we'll just throw it on the table, and then we all just rip it to pieces and put it back together as the band. And there's a lot of pros and cons to that. There's a lot of great sides of that. You have a support group. You always have people who are just kind of, but the only downfall about it is, there may be something that somebody brings to the group that they're really excited about, and then it gets shot down by, one of the,
right. Yeah, okay.
a quarter, part of the, so, that's the only downfall. Like when I'm writing on my own, there's not really any limitations. I mean, I write till it feels good to me, till it feels right, and just, if it feels square and good to me, then I call it a song and move on. And I mean, with that kind of attitude, I just don't really I've never really set out to, I need to write a type of song that fits into this genre or that genre or this. It's more just kind of whatever comes, whatever feels good, and go from there. So, that's extremely liberating, and and that's the pro of that. But there is a downfall of that sometimes as well. When you're writing completely by yourself, you don't have not. I mean, nowadays I have Joe and John, who great friends, brilliant musicians, who I would love to think if I showed them a song or something, they would just say, "Buddy, that's terrible." Like I don't, bad idea. But anyhow, when you're riding by yourself, that's the only downfall. Sometimes you don't have that support group there to help police your ideas, so to speak.
Joe and John are the trio. Well, two-thirds of the trio that
Yeah.
make up Chuck Ragan. So it's kind of ironic that you are playing a bunch of road songs on the road now, kind of promoting them, I guess so. But let's talk about this tour right now, the one that you're on.
Let's talk about it.
Dropkick Murphys, you have Street Dogs, Stiff Little Fingers, the Mahones. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of great acts, and it's like 2 stages. How did you find yourself on the road with all these great musicians?
Oh, it started out. It was probably maybe 6 months ago, maybe a little longer. Ken Casey sent me an email and said, "Hey, have an idea for some shows and some tours." And he first invited me out to do a run up in Canada with him, and we went across Canada and down to San Francisco and just really hit it off. I mean, the whole band is incredible. Their crew is one of the they're just a top-notch group of guys all around. Great team and just a joy to be around. Which is, to me, it's so important. I mean, I've been touring since 1995, and it is so not worth it. It's not worth my time to be on the road with people who don't want to be there or people with bad attitudes. It's just the same thing as any workplace. Why, if that's your livelihood and that's what you're doing, why would you want to be in a place with someone who is just miserable all the time? And these, like the whole Dropkick camp, man, I mean, it's a perfect example. They are so positive the majority of the time, or at least maybe I haven't spent enough time with them, because I know I get tired of the road. Everybody does, but just kind of one of the common ethics or rules of the road is you do your job, you do your best, and you don't complain, and you get it done. And I can honestly say, from the impression that I've had with that whole camp, they're just top notch. We love them to death, and have all the respect in the world for them, for what they've put together, what they've built, and what they're holding together as as friends, as a business, as a crew. So it's great. But yeah, Ken invited us out on a Canadian run, and it finished in San Francisco. And then on that run, he said, "Hey, we have this idea for this." Basically kind of this folk and rock and roll festival of 2 stages. We're going to have a rock and roll stage and a folk stage, and he asked us to, we're really honored to have been asked to headline the folk stage, so it's a pretty big deal to us.
So what was it like playing with the Dropkick Murphys at Fenway Park in Boston? And do you share the same love of the city of Boston that they do?
Oh man, I mean, like it was hard not to feel the love in that situation. I mean, like that. I mean, for one, what a ballpark. I mean, it's just one of the greatest in the country, if not the greatest. Had the opportunity to be in, some of the old ones, and like that was kind of a very surreal experience, just to walk out and like just to see the grass. I mean, that was the first thing that just kind of hit me when I saw the grass and the color of the grass, and like, kind of looking around at the big green monster there. It was really surreal, man, and just a complete honor to be there. But I can tell you, like, being there, and we played under the bleachers. They had a whole outdoor stage and then an indoor stage, and so we were like in the belly of the beast, of the green monster, and but it was hard. It was hard not to feel the love and of that park, and like all the fans and all the people and how devoted they are to their team, and that's a beautiful thing. It's amazing.
Great way to start a tour, I guess, too, right?
Man, yeah, it's really something else.
Now, coming back, like back to the covering ground now, what's kind of your goals now? I mean, you've been in the music business and industry now for like a bunch of years. What kind of goals do you have now this far into it?
Man, I mean, like if I could write and record records for the rest of my life, I'd be thrilled. That's what I would love to do. You know, I've I've toured. You know, I've done touring, and to be honest with you, like there's a lot of great things about it. You know, I have the opportunity to, like the Fenway thing. I mean,
Right.
I mean, every once in a while something like that happens where you look around and you go, look at where we are. How do we get here? You know, and I mean, but you got to understand, everybody who's ever finds themselves in that situation, you have to make a massive amount of sacrifices to find yourself in those situations, to get to that point. And there definitely comes a point in I think everybody's life, if they run hard and they live on the road and they make those sacrifices, where you start realizing, how much stuff we all that live this life, how much stuff we miss out on with our family, with our loved ones, who, they're getting the the brunt end of the stick, I guess you could say. It makes it really tough. And my point is, there would definitely be. I look forward to a time where I either don't have to be on the road anymore, or am working in a different direction, and to have a livelihood off the road. And it's a tough business. It's a tough game. There's definitely not a whole lot of security in it at all. It's not like working for a corporation or a union, or where you have benefits, or you have insurance, or like any kind of retirement. You have to go get it yourself.
Sometimes they don't even have an address, I guess, when you're on tour, right?
This is true. This is true. So a lot of sacrifices, but I mean, like, to me, I look forward to having children. I have a beautiful wife and dog, and I love home life, but right now, I don't live a life, that would do service for any kids, any children, and so I look forward to that changing one of these days. But all in all, in music, man, I'll write and record records till I physically or mentally am just incapable of doing it.